All right, John. I think we only have one topic today, and I don't think it's going to be super long anyway, so this could be pretty quick. Um, yeah, so I guess we can just get into that then. So the one topic we have on here today is um, some new documentation for Cepheidium. Essentially, it's supposed to be for developers instead of users, and going over some of the implementation stuff that you wouldn't really ever want to tell users about, but for anyone who's trying to get into Cepheidium who doesn't know about how it works under the cover, it would help them. Um, and so the first sort of point there was whether we should just do it in general. And we talked a little bit about this in the stand-up yesterday, and pretty much we felt like sort of why not? As long as essentially we keep it high enough level that it doesn't become a maintenance nightmare. Um, we could keep doing it. Um, yeah, so unless somebody has a specific reason why we shouldn't, I guess we can just move past that point. Hey, let me link the other pad as well. What I'm talking about. But if nobody has any issue with it in general, sort of the questions we're going to ask here, just sort of get a initial idea, is sort of what level do you want it to go to? Again, that's sort of the balance points, where if you make it too detailed, then it becomes impossible to maintain because you have to update it after you change anything. And if you make it too high level, then it could just not be very useful. And so sort of the question was at what level we actually put things at. So the sort of things we'd have in here would be like important data structures, important sort of concepts, maybe an outline of the serve loop and like sort of the main functions that it has there and the general idea of what they do, I think are some things that could be good. But then not into any actual details of how those things work, just sort of stopping there. So those are my initial thoughts on basically where it would go to. And maybe some of the data structure as well. I know we're talking about it before. I think we're talking about how things are stored in the inventory, where we like put things in the JSON strings and we put them into the Monkey store and all that. Yeah, so I think all that stuff should be okay. Again, as long as it's kept sort of high level, and just like this is generally how we do things here, and this is generally what like the serve loop is doing and all that. Um, yeah, so we're on that sort of portion of it. Rito, do you want to talk a bit about, because I know you were the one who was going to start working on this. Did you want to talk a bit about what sort of things you thought needed to be in here?
Yeah, basically, as I told, in my case, it's something that I find useful if we have something. So if we have a lot of very good documentation for the users, but not for developers, I think to be good at least to have something at a high level, explain like the structure of the code, the different components we have, the classes, the relationship between them. Not going into too much details, of course, because otherwise, as you said, it will be very difficult to maintain. And besides that, also have some documentation about like the logic, the big components, what we normally do in the loops, what are we checking, what kind of data we have to keep in sync between the managers, like the cache, this kind of things. I think could be very useful.
All right. So yeah, I just want to get like a general idea of sort of a starting point of what we think we're going to do. And like pretty much what I said a minute ago. I think my first thing I mentioned that I thought maybe could be good there is just an overview of the functions the serve loop is calling. So we have the whole thing where we like apply the services, we refresh all the posts and all the information there. And I think those could be sort of explained a little bit and kept at a very high level, and it
Yeah,
wouldn't be too complicated. Because even if we change how we refresh the daemons or whatever, that doesn't have to be in there. It just has to be, this is what the function is, this is what we're doing, or is the goal of it anyway. So we could start with that. I
yeah,
think you mentioned there what we keep in track between the cache. This is basically things we need for manager failovers, things that have to sort of be persistent no matter what.
yeah.
I'm not sure to what level of detail you want to go because that's something that could change sort of frequently. I don't know if we want to like list off all those things. I think it could be useful though to say sort of how that's done at least, and maybe we could talk about maybe some of the ones we know aren't going anywhere, or if we are talking about things, just keep it at a very high level, like say something about like host information or what else do we have in there? Like which daemons we have on each host and the devices and things like that.
Yeah. Can also have a section for that grade. I think it's don't know if it's tricky or not, but it's
The
something
upgrade is pretty
we
complicated.
yeah,
Yeah, I can see a general thing on that, the high level of how that sort of works as well.
yeah, exactly.
All right, let me.
So we can start like putting layout of the sections we would like to include in the documentation, and then start working on them whenever somebody wants to contribute something. This way we build it on between team members.
All right, yeah, maybe so we start by sort of figuring out the topics we want, and then we can go from there and see if somebody wants to write it. So like I've done a lot of work with the upgrade stuff, so I could probably start there. Uh, so I'm going to start adding some things here. So do overview of serve loop functions. Want that. Um, I don't know what a good way to phrase it is. Things of it's state persistent. Exactly that. The upgrade works. No, actually,
I
this
think
is on
we
this.
discussed it like yesterday, the relationship between the services, the daemons, and the different classes we have there.
Yeah, that's good fun. Demons. We were talking about redeploy, reconfig, and all that. Although that's more of a user level one, and then there's already some
That's more for
functionality there.
user level, yeah. That's something we have to update in documentation somewhere.
I think what else maybe need?
The main loop, did you put it there?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
did I mess up copy pasting? Oh wait, yeah, it's still in the other section.
I don't know if like we do something specific to the different services or daemons. That case, maybe.
It's mostly OSDs, I think, that have
Or,
special things.
mhm.
They're handled differently in a lot of places. Everything else is mostly handled the same. Probably a little bit about the scheduler actually.
Yeah, scheduling part also.
It's kind of complicated. What else do we have in
The,
here?
the services themselves, like the NFS.
Well, we do already have some sections for that. Like if you go to, what's the link? The docs. It's more like user
Yeah.
level stuff, but it goes over like the service specs and what things are in there and all that. So I don't know what else you'd want to do for an implementation standpoint for those beyond like these are the things you can, the settings you can set and all that. I don't know if it's necessary. That does feel like something that would maybe get a little too low level, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would always try to avoid going low level.
I think what else do we have?
This
There's the way migrations work.
Yeah. This is a question for everybody. Do you know, I mean, if somebody is already doing something similar, if you know, like some tool for generating classes from code or something similar, which could be useful in these cases? Ernesto, are you doing something similar in dashboard?
Sorry, Redo, what exactly? Do you have an
Yeah,
example?
yeah, basically, would like to start generating some documentation
Mhm.
at this moment high level, and we'll try to keep it this way for developers.
Yeah, so
So
Ernesto, the idea is basically that it's hard to get into developing with Cepheidium because there's so many like topic or complex implementation things. And so we're thinking about trying to get some documentation of some of the implementation stuff that you wouldn't normally put in docs because it's not, users don't care about it. But for any potential future developers or even just us who want to go remember things,
exactly.
just an overview of how certain things work. And sort of the discussion was at what level this needs to be kept at, because if it goes too low level, it's unmaintainable. You have to update it after every change.
So the question is where to put these docs, or?
Well, that actually is one of the questions, but we haven't gotten to there yet. Right now,
Yeah.
we're actually going over which things would need to be in here, like the topics that would be involved.
Mhm.
And I think, Rita, were you asking if that
I was asking, yeah, if there's some tools that you are aware of to generate like classes diagrams from code, Python.
Yeah, there. I think there's Data. That's a framework for creating diagrams. There are different tools. Yeah, I'm not sure where those are documented. If you check the script for installing the doc building environment, you can see more or less the plugins and extension that we are installing there. And I think one is Data. It's DITTA. And I think we have more tools for creating diagrams.
I was just asking something is already used in the team, so just to use the same tools.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sharing the link for our old Hacking RSD docs. This was later moved to the general docs, Ceph docs. But I mean, for a while we had this in separate. So basically we could point, it was just Markdown. So this wasn't rendered as a Ceph doc. It was just for developers and contributors that quickly find that. But if you check the link, which is the online version, more or less, not sure if that might be useful just to see how we arrange the info there. But that's purely for developers.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. We are trying to build the same thing for Cepheidium to have documentation for developers. That's the idea.
Pretty much in the process of trying to like onboard people to Cepheidium, we realized it's actually sort of hard to get into.
yeah. Well, actually, some of these things I would assume that they should be shared across components, right? Because right now the Cepheidium is the prescribed way of deploying Ceph, right? So probably all the different onboarding docs for developers to start covering that, right? How to deploy a Cepheidium cluster and
We have some stuff. Where is it?
For the Ceph development, we have
Trying to find the thing I linked you yesterday, Rito, about.
yeah, I will be sharing it. I have the link. Developing with Cepheidium, I think.
Yeah, that one. I just don't remember where it is in the doctrine.
This one. So basically, in this case, just like how to create cluster to start working with the Cepheidium. We have different methods to do that.
Yeah.
But in this case, we are talking more about something like for developers, for somebody who will be working on Cepheidium to get some idea about like the code structure, different classes, the big components.
Well, I guess we do already have this Cepheidium developer documentation thought in the docs. And then we have the developing Cepheidium thing, which I think what I linked to yesterday. That's mostly just sort of developer environments in there. There actually is a section in the very bottom of that on the service type stuff, services versus daemons. I knew this was somewhere.
Yeah, very small section at the end describing like the names of.
I felt that was documented somewhere, but I couldn't find it yesterday. Yeah, they should probably just reformat this as well, honestly, and just move that. You should probably just have a section for developer environments.
Yeah.
And then a different one for this other stuff. There's half of this is developer environments, and then the other half is just sort of miscellaneous things. Probably move this and reformat it. Yeah, and then we could have sort of a section for each of these topics we put in the other tab.
I put the wrong link before. This is the link for the Ernesto for the bootstrap things video.
All right, I think that also answers the last point, which was where in the docs where you should just go.
Yeah.
I don't see any reason it would go anywhere else besides there. And Cepheidium developer documentation part.
So they already. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so we already have that. It looks like it's sort of started doing what we're talking about. It's just that it's very, very bare bones. It only has a very small amount of topics. Just what do they have? Basically the developer environments, the compliance checks, and then host maintenance mode.
Yeah.
Some stuff about OSDs.
And this also answers your question before. It seems like Dash poor team, they have this Dash devel under the developer guide where they put the information related to development, so we can create Cepheidium Dash devel to put our development stuff there.
Honestly, I don't think it's worth restructuring the layout just to match that. This thing already exists.
No,
the content first. That's my suggestion.
I'm not referring to the. I'm not referring to the content itself. I'm referring to the location because the Dash team uses developer underscore guide and then an entry for the development, so we can have something similar there and keep this developing.
I just suggest that it's, there's already some search engine juice to find this stuff. I don't think changing the URL is going to make a significant improvement versus, links changing and stuff.
So in this case, we are starting like new page for this information. The developing with Cepheidium has information about how to bootstrap cluster with different methods we support. So we will keep this information.
Yeah, but if you go like one layer,
be separated from the development part.
You think what should be separated from the developer part?
I mean, this developing with Cepheidium, because it's not only for developers, it's something that everybody may need. Everybody joining the team may need this information. So we'll keep it as it is, more or less, because it has everything.
I'm not sure I understand exactly what you mean.
Yeah, basically this the web page, the link I shared before is developing this one. So this link contains the information on how to bootstrap cluster using Cepheidium, which is something that anybody.
Well, that section looks like it's specifically on the shared Ceph folder. I don't think you
Yeah.
shouldn't need that if you're not a developer. And we do have
Mm.
documentation for the Bootstrap elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, but anyway, this is something that maybe somebody could need for testing or anything that has nothing to do with the development.
I mean, if you're going to like test changes or anything, you would, but I think that is the stuff that should be in the developer guide, is people who are trying to change something.
Mhm.
Yeah, so what I was saying before is if you go like one layer above that, we just have the Cepheidium developer documentation. I think we just put everything there, and I think what we want to do is just the developing with Cepheidium section, I think, is covering too many topics, and maybe some of that should be split up. But other than that, this section looks like it's fine. And so it has like a host maintenance section and a compliance check section as topics, and we just need to add more topics to it, basically. And then we don't have to really change anything with the system
Okay.
or where everything is, just adding things to it.
Yeah, I second that.
Okay, understand your point. Okay. Yes, and I mean, I don't care about the link right now. So if we already have this page, we can continue working on it. I didn't see like the upper one. Okay. Maybe in
Yeah.
the future we can move it to something similar to have all the developer information for Ceph in some common place, but by now we can start using this.
I mean, that overarching place is called Cepheidium developer documentation. I don't know if you're looking at the same link as I am. Like if you go to
Right now I'm
here.
looking at this one.
Click on the link I posted right there.
I think it's the same one. No, it's different.
You go to that link I posted, it's just this Cepheidium
Yeah.
developer documentation. It's like an overarching category, and it
Yeah.
has like contents, and it has a bunch of subsections.
Okay.
I think we basically all we need to do is sort of get this project going is take some things from the developing with Cepheidium. Like I said, I think that one's a bit too broad.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's just adding more topics, and we already have a list of topics we put up in the other pad.
Yeah, this host maintenance, compliance check.
Yeah, so it's sort of the same thing. So like host maintenance is just some random specific topic they want to say behind the scenes. Like this is kind of what this is for. This is what it's doing. All that.
Yeah.
That's
So
kind of what we
maybe
want.
maybe you can rename the developing with Cepheidium to like bootstrapping cluster, because it's already information that this thing
I'm
has.
assuming we're going to need like a miscellaneous section because there's going to be things that aren't big topics like that we want. But I think that section actually could be just like or where the most of that section is just developer environments. They have a lot of section on vstart, cstart, shared Ceph folder, KCLI.
Yeah, like to set the sections basically how to set up your environment, and then we'll have dedicated sections to the code structure and everything related.
Actually, it pretty much is just that stuff. And at the very end, there's some stuff about network calls and daemon types versus service types.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
All right. So I think we know where it's going to go. We already have a pretty long list of topics and things we could start putting there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think there's anything left to go over for that topic. Does anybody have anything else they want to say about the developer doc stuff? All right. Well, that was also the only topic I had in here this week. It was kind of a quiet week. Does anybody have any other topics you want to go over, or just call it here? All right. In that case, I will see you all next week. Bye.
See you. Bye.
See you.
Thanks,
Bye.
bye.
Thank you.
Bye.